Welcome to Trulyfit, the online fitness marketplace connecting pros and clients through unique fitness business software.
Greg, thank you so much for joining the Trulyfit Podcast. Can you give my listeners and the audience a brief background on who you are and what it is that you do in the health and fitness industry?
Yes, thank you so much, Steve. It's an honor to be here. As far as IFTA is concerned, or we're better known as IFTA, it's Interactive Fitness Trainers of America. We started in 1993, so we're almost 30 years old. We do all types of certifications, everything from group fitness, personal trainer, to aqua, to senior, to kickbox, to bar, to Pilates, yoga, senior, all of that stuff. So it's certifications, and then also a lot of continuing education, whether it's going to be workshops or video downloads or hard copy videos. People still want those, or things that they read like articles, or in person. You know, we always wanted to be in person and live. We just feel like it's really good. We can do that. So that's one of the things that sets us apart, or has set us apart over the years.
What was the initial inspiration? Because it sounds like a very difficult task for someone to take on, to say, I'm going to start an entire certification program, especially competing with the big guys. What gave you that drive?
Yes, that's a great question. So way back in the day, like 1990s, early 1990s, I was beginning to teach, or I had been teaching for a while, and I was noticing, and other people too, that we could only get certified from a company in California. And so we're in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's where we're based. And so nothing against California, nothing against any of those companies. It's just that I was thinking, why do we not have anything over here? This is crazy. So myself and my business partner, we've been the same owners, and we started it together. We're teaching and leading courses, and we were in charge of 7 clubs, 7 coordinators, and about 250 instructors in North Carolina. We were already leading and teaching and doing all kinds of things. And they were saying, do your own in-house thing. And we said, well, don't really want to do an in-house thing. We want it to be like legit. Yeah. So we really took the time to pull that together. We also, Steve, I mean, again, I'm not trying to compare in a bad way in any way. It's just that the pricing, even back then, we felt like was out of hand. Yeah. So we wanted to make ours less expensive, more cost effective, and give them the same information and try to do it even better. So that's how it started. What was hard, because you said, starting a company back then, what was hard is that, the internet wasn't even here yet. It was just starting. So I was literally faxing clubs all over the US. My goal was to be in every state as soon as possible. So I had this one script that I had, like one page that would go to the fitness director coordinator, and I just keep whiting it out and changing it to put their name in. Once I would call first, get the lead person's name, and I would fax them. And that is how we started the business. It was unbelievable how many people responded, and all over the place. And we just got ourselves there and did it.
Yeah. And, I took an IFT or an IFTA certification, a personal trainer certification. I never did the group fitness, and I really loved it. So, I mean, we're going to get into that a little bit, but I do want to talk about how, when I took it, it was very hands-on, much more than the programs you have now, right? So you can go online, and I'm not saying the tests are easy, but if you go to ACE or NASM, they're difficult tests, but there's no there's no hands-on approach. With IFTA, I think it was maybe Gay Gasper or something who was in my particular instructor at the time. They go over everything with you. They brought us into the weight room, and they went through different modifications and things you have to do. Like, hey, set this machine up for someone who's 5'1". Okay, now set this machine up for someone who's 6'3", right? There's a big difference in how you would do that. Give me a stretch for the gastroc or the soleus, right? They put you on the spot. And that really resonated with me, because I think throughout my personal training career, I said, that was so much more important, those sorts of things, learning, than passing any sort of kinesiology test that you have in a NASM or an ACE fashion.
I totally agree with you. And thank you for what you said there. And by the way, Gay Gasper is one of my best friends, and it's always here with me. We hang out a lot. I'll see her this coming weekend, actually. But you're right. Look, a test is important. We need some type of standard, and we get that. So we do have a test, but it's not crazy, in the way of just being so difficult that you're not going to move forward. Our goal is to help people move forward and do what they want to do, to accomplish what they want to accomplish, to help others, and to make some money at doing it. I mean, that's the way it should be. Now, the hands-on training is important. So even if we couldn't make it into the free weight room or whatever room because of the facility saying, hey, you've got, 7 hours you can do this, but you got to stay in this room.
Yeah.
Because of this and that, we'd bring some equipment in, we demonstrate, we always in a healthy way without trying to hurt somebody or scare them or whatever. We're like, you're going to be on the spot. So be prepared. This is the way it is as a personal trainer. So we're going to quiz you in front of everybody. And just know that that's coming up. I'm giving you fair warning. Don't be nervous. We're here to help you, but you do have to pass this part. And people were like, oh, I'm seeing people turn white all over the world, literally, in their face, just because, it's just like scary to do that. But it's such an accomplishment. And I've never felt like a test is a true reflection of your ability or what you're going to do in the future. So I just want to say that, yes, we do have a written test and we do have the online option, but ours is more of like a hybrid. I put that in place before COVID ever happened. So we were going down that path, but we were resisting it as long as we could. And we still do the hands-on training, and we do send them videos of our presenters talking them through it. That's part of the course. So they don't feel like it's like a computer that's just talking to them.
Sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And obviously you have to pivot somewhat because of COVID and the times. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. I'm going to ask you about that, but sure. I do want to come back to when you first started this company. You talked about a few of I would call the major road bumps, like you had to fax things all over the place and because the internet wasn't really around yet. What else was really hurting you, or what was a pain point? And did you feel like you were in direct competition when you reached out to some of these facilities? Were they like, no, sorry, we're going to work with ACE or whoever else? And you had to sort of convince them that you guys were worthwhile?
Well, you're always going to run into that. You've always in sales or anything that you do that you believe in, you're going to hear some no's. And we heard some no's, but from the very beginning, it just took off. There were some people who said, but at the same time, Fargo, North Dakota said, yeah, and that's been one of our big areas. Savannah, Georgia was like, yeah, people understood that it was, less expensive, mm-hmm. and it was still good. The word was getting out, but that is something that, you have to work through, especially in the beginning. I don't know if I would want to start one right now. I'm not trying to discourage anyone from doing that, because everyone deserves to do what they want to do, follow their dream, follow their heart, 100%. But, it seems like it might be a little harder right now, but maybe just because we've been around so long. I'll tell you, Steve, every once in a while, we still do get that. So it's rare, but when they do, I just simply explain to them, I'm like, go to our website. This is only our second website. We got one right away as soon as the web opened, and it actually performed well for us for many years, but we had to invest in a new one, and we've got a better one now. But I'll just have them go to the website if they're willing to, and then I'll talk them through some things like, let me just explain to you just how internationally recognized we are. Let me also explain to you that I believe we're the only company that is verified and approved by the US federal government. And we've been that for about 5 years. That is hard to obtain.
Wow.
The reason it's hard is you got to open up everything to them. You got to let them see everything. You got to fill out this huge application. They got to check all kinds of things to make sure that you are what you say you are, and that you're doing everything equally and correct, and that you don't have all kinds of issues going on, even in your personal life as the owner. So we've got 2 owners only, and there's no red tape to go through. But being aligned with the government was really, really good for us. And it means a lot to know that we can get that and we have that status. I don't know if anybody understands that, but that's just something.
Yeah, well, they should, because that does make a lot of sense. And, I just want to speak to your certifications in general. They help you get your foot in the door. They give you a baseline, but ultimately it is up to you, the trainer, and then the facility to put you in the right place to grow. Right. So there can be 40 people who, in Fargo, North Dakota next week, all come away with the IFTA certification for personal training. It doesn't mean all 40 of them are equal right away, right? So they all have different backgrounds. They come from different levels. Some of them will take to it better than others will. And ultimately, it's, the facility which they work in, it's their obligation too to say like, okay, well, you seem a little bit more junior. I'm going to have you work with the 35-year-olds who have no health issue. And, this other person seems like they're catching on a little bit quicker. So you can work with maybe the more difficult personal training clients. And again, the certification is just a baseline. So some people hear like, oh, I have this certification, I already know everything. It's like, no. This is the absolute baseline. Experience is what drives you to the top.
I totally agree with you. And look, there's some let me just start over. There's some companies, there's some people that are certified through certain companies that, in my opinion, they're not that great as far as like their training is concerned. I'm not talking about the company, I'm talking about the individual training.
Sure.
And there's some people from another company that are fantastic. There are IFTA people out there that I worry about as well. Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, it just shows you that it doesn't matter what company you're going through. You have to do the work. You have to practice your craft. You have to be on it 100%. And the reason why we shorten some of our trainings is because we're trying to make sure that we're doing what the facility wants without messing up their weekend plan members that are saying, hey, why are they closing this when I want to be working out? So we sometimes will have a briefer certification that's more like boom, boom, boom. It's more practically based, and you might self-study. We do a lot of different options in order to please people as far as the facility is concerned. And I've always said, this is where I'm headed, that the facility will train you as to what they want you to do at their place.
Yeah.
You've got to learn their equipment anyway, their way of doing things, what they believe is right and correct. So, get the certification and then go from there. There are people that say, well, if it's sort of like a base one and it's, not as big as the others, not as great. I'm okay with that, Steve. I've always been okay with that, unless they compare us in a way that I think is unfair. Other than that, I'm okay. I mean, it's like, call us a base certification. Just call us,
Yeah,
because we want to be there for you. We want to help. And you might find out, which a lot of people do over the years, that they end up just staying with us because they're getting what they need out of us. And it's not as expensive. It's not the kind of thing that is, making them spend tons of money. I'm trying to say this in a way that, I don't want to compare to other companies and make them look bad in this interview.
Yeah, I think saying a base certification is not a negative in any which way. And I actually think it's a positive, because some of the certifications come with so much, this is how we do it. This is the way to do it. This is the only way to do it. And I don't believe in that. You need to ask why. There's a big difference between training a 76-year-old with bilateral hip replacements and a 22-year-old who's trying to go to the Olympics, right? So to have one particular training style is not a good thing. You just want a base, and then you want to learn on your own. Like you said, you may be at a facility that has one type of equipment or only does group fitness or only does this. So it's good to keep your mind open, learn the basics, and then learn on the job, and not be so dyed in the wool, and have a model like an OPT model where you're supposed to train everyone the same exact way.
Totally agree with you. Fantastic.
So you talked initially a little bit, you mentioned it about how you guys were worldwide. Can you explain what was your decision-making process in doing that, and how difficult that may be to start something like that?
Well, yeah, in the very beginning, once again, I was like, okay, I want us to be in every state. And along the way of going to every state, I said, why can't we go to some foreign countries too? Let's see. Let's just see. We'll start with the English speaking ones and go from there. But, like the very beginning, the first one was Mexico because it was just easy.
Sure.
It was easy to go to the Caribbean. And I mean, I'd literally walk up to in the Cancun area. Jeff and I, my business partner, would go there for like 4 or 5 days on vacation, and we would make a point to find fitness centers. We'd make a point to find like a store that was a fitness store. There was one that was there that was the largest one. We'd walk in and say, what piece of equipment are you trying to sell that you're having a hard time with? And I mean, and they were so open to what we had to say. I remember the manager saying, these little trampoline things, these round trampoline things, we cannot seem to sell them. And we said, what if we do a demo for you wherever you want it while we're here this week? You can set it up wherever you want to, maybe in the mall here. And we did it. And people came from everywhere. We were handing out information. We did it for free, just a big demonstration on the rebounders type things.
Yeah.
And they sold out. Wow. So we were hooked in with them. So then we came back the next time and pushed another piece of equipment with them. Then we were certifying people in the hotels there in Cancun. So that was that. I've been doing videos for so long, workout videos, that I would get a correspondence from somebody in another country that said, I've got your video. I was wondering what it would take to get you here. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I never wanted to be the star of IFTA. Yeah. I just couldn't get anybody else to video. I was like, I'll do it. I'll stand in front of the camera and I'll just do these workouts. So a lot of the early years was a lot of videos of Jeff and Greg. And I was trying so hard to get other people filmed so that I wouldn't be the only one. We finally have that after all these years. But there's some videos, man, that it's like I'm 25 years younger than I am right now. That's kind of hard. It's kind of funny, but it's also kind of hard to deal with. I'm like, we're calling these vintage. But my point is, we had someone from Asia that contacted us and said, I've got this video of you. Would you come there? And I'm like, absolutely. So you just have to go by faith and just show up. And all of a sudden, it really took off in Singapore, for example. So we've been going to Singapore. I have for 9 or 10 years now, at least twice a year. And our growth there is great. And we have a number of presenters there now, and I don't have to go as much, even though I love the people and love going there. Same thing with some of the countries in Europe. And I would film a video while I was there, so that I could advertise it from Hong Kong. That's not Europe, I know. Asia. Hong Kong to Italy. I'm on the side of a mountain with a fence that I'm using as the bar while I'm doing bar movements, and a crowd comes and then somebody gives you their card and they want you there for their facility. And I mean, that's just how it goes. Even Russia. I went to a fitness convention in Russia. Actually, someone asked me to go there and they had my video there too. Another person in the industry said, look, they asked me to come. I don't want to go, or I can't make it work. Do you want to go? And I said, I'll be there. So I went to Chelyabinsk out in the middle of really near Siberia, but they treated me so well. That's just, it's just something that we wanted to do. And so we also have military people that go from the US to other countries. Sure. And they keep up their CECs, and we had to be able to do things that were online. And so they've helped us to get more people certified there too. So that's how it goes.
It's a wild story. It's a wild story. Yeah. And I mean, all of your sort of like initiative to do those things, starting with the Rebounder project, to walk into a store and just say,
I was younger.
And I mean, and it's funny because it didn't matter what they picked. You guys were ready to do it, right? They could have picked up, they're like, we're not selling 3-pound dumbbells. You're like, we're going to do a whole class around 3-pound dumbbells. We'll do it. We're going to get people here. And sometimes it's just to start a business from the bottom up. It takes that sort of initiative to get you going. So
you got to be willing to push, just like a personal trainer. Yeah. You've got to be willing to go for it. Get your plan going and be a go-getter, and you'll be successful.
Totally. I always tell that to young personal trainers who I try to help mentor, is that sometimes you even have to do free things, right? Like a free assessment. Absolutely. And so go to the park, pass out flyers, you can go old school, or you can write something online and say, I'm going to do a 10-minute free assessment on whatever, on your rotation, if you're a golfer, or on your flexibility. We're going to go over 3 exercises. And then that's how you get people through the door, right? And then you say, hey, this is what I noticed is wrong, but if you want me to fix these things, that's where I charge. Here's my business card.
That's right. And look, doing the whole thing for free is a way to get in. It doesn't mean that you're, discounting yourself, that you're not valuable. What you're doing is you're being smart. Just like some of the conventions. I used to teach for a number of the big conventions way back in the day when we had these huge conventions. And I would just contact the owner and say, hey, look, I'm willing to do it for free. And if they like me, great. If they don't, no problem. I'll fly myself there. I'll get my own hotel room. I'll do whatever you want me to teach, because I teach a little bit of everything. That's another thing. You got to be able to teach a lot of different things and be able to teach it well and practice, which helps keep you, in order as far as your body is concerned too, just to be able to practice so much and to be able to learn different things. But that's the way to do it. I believe in that. Give it away in the beginning and then hook them.
Let's stay on this teaching topic here. Can you tell us, because I think a lot of trainers, even me at some point, would love to be presenters and they don't know the process. How do you become a presenter? What are the skill sets that you think are important in addition to what you just named to become a presenter, and any other information you have concerning that?
Well, if as far as being an IFTA presenter is concerned, I can tell you exactly what we need. But a presenter in general, in my opinion, you've got to be willing to stand up in front of people and be quick, not only quick-witted, but entertaining. But you've got to be able to, you've got to love them and let them see the real truth and love that you have for them, and that everybody's important. Mm-hmm. Good eye contact is important. And then knowing your material is really important. I'm backing up and kind of going in different directions, but I want to say that every single weekend. I traveled every weekend for years, over 20 years. I've got so many American Airlines miles and status and everything. And that was so nice when it finally started coming in. And I was like, I'm getting used to first class. But, I haven't been traveling as much now. I really love not traveling. But I was just going to say that every single time I go somewhere to teach, if it's a group fitness certification where I wrote a lot of the questions, I am in the morning with coffee. This is just something I like, coffee. I am sitting there in that hotel bed and I am flipping through the material and I'm getting it and putting it in my head, even though I know it. Of course I know it. But to be able to stand up there and speak with confidence and know that any question that comes your way, you can pretty much answer it. If you don't know the answer, you just simply admit it and say, hey, that is a really great question. Let me get back to you on that. Rather than tell you something that I think is incorrect, I'd rather, do a little research. I'll get back to you on that. There's ways to work around it. You always practice as if you're teaching to people. And what would you do if something went awry, like say the music cut out or whatever, anything like that. So I've always said to people, practice in front of a mirror and just keep going no matter what. You can't just stop things when you're in a live setting. You can't stop a class. You can't stop your presentation and say, hang on just a second, guys, let me do this, or at least I don't think you should. So be able to work your way through any situation, always arriving early, sleeping the night before really well, being careful if you are a drinker, being careful not to do that when you're, on your weekend jobs and work, and eat correctly and all that stuff. Those are the basics. Now, learning to teach a lot of different things has helped me over the years to be able to answer questions in front of people and to be able to be usable for a facility. If they wanted a dance class, I can teach a dance class. If they want step, I can do step. If they want a muscle workout with equipment, I'll do that too. If they want martial arts, I'll do it. Or ballet bar. Yeah, I've been practicing that, learning that. A lot of times with the clients that I train, because I do train and teach throughout the week, I want to stay in the trenches. That's important too. Don't become just a presenter on the weekends and nothing throughout the week. You've got to stay in the trenches and understand what it feels like to do this on a daily basis, like what they're going to do, the people that you're training and teaching and getting certified. But I'll find that moves that when I have a client that says, I can't do this, can't do that, can't do this, can't do that, because they've got limitations, I'll get them doing something from another discipline that they don't even realize they're doing.
Yeah.
I've got a 76-year-old client that is doing plies, and you can't see me from here now, but I've got her doing bar movements. She has no idea what she's doing, but she knows she's getting stronger and it's working for her. But as far as being a presenter for IFTA is concerned, you have to be IFTA Group Fitness certified, number one, to even be considered. I think that's the way it should be for any company. So you can know, like the big mama, kind of like that book is like this, so we want to make sure they know as much as they can know and be able to answer questions. And then we need a video. It could just be a little phone video of you showing what you think is your best representation. We're going to look at it and our board's going to look at it. We're always wanting to hire people that really do want to be presenters. But I'll tell you, Steve, if you don't mind me interjecting, I'm probably talking too much.
No. Please. This is great information. Seriously.
You ask me one question, and I'll just ramble forever. So just jump rope in there and I'll be quiet. But as far as, what we really are looking for now is I'm looking for like a sales team. I don't know if that makes sense or not. You can be the presenter when you go out and do it, but I'm also wanting to pay people to promote IFTA. And that's something that I'm just about to put out. But I probably shouldn't say too much about that until I get it completely put together. But that's a way in too. If you're a big IFTA promoter for us, we want to reward you and get you whatever you want. If you want to be a presenter, let's try it. Let's go for it, kind of thing. But I do think with other companies, the things I just mentioned are important to have that good reputation of always being there. I have never not shown up for anything I'm supposed to do. The only time is like if an airplane flight, fails me. But that's me being in constant communication with them, letting them know. But I've never missed a flight in all these years, going to anywhere. So it's just important to be consistent.
There's so many great points there. I want to hit on a few things that you said. Number one, learning all the different modalities is important, right? Eventually, now I get it. Sometimes trainers, you might have 40, 50 hours a week already booked up, and it's difficult, but at some point in your career, it's good to take a step back and to take a step forward. So whether it's you have to cancel some of those things, or whether you just say, hey, listen, I need to slow down and then go learn something new, right? If you've never learned yoga, go learn kickboxing, go learn these things, because they're going to fuse. You don't need to use them independently. They're going to fuse with whatever it is that you do and your style. So like Greg said, like he does with his clients. I also think you said, if the music cuts out, whatever, anyone who's ever taught group fitness knows something is going to go wrong. It's going to happen. You're not going to go a full week without something going wrong, right? Somebody could fall during class or get injured. How do you deal with that when one person gets injured? If you have 12 people going on in class, right? Do you just attend to that person and let them go? You have to think about these things in advance, right? Play out all the potential, bad scenarios. And then lastly, one of the first things you said, Greg, is that as long as they know that you care and that you're doing the right thing, that's what matters. You're not going to know the answer to every question. There's going to be people come up to you and say, oh, this hurts, or this is going on, or I want to know more about this and that. Just say, I'm going to research that. I'm going to look into it. I'm going to write this down. Give me your email. I'll get back to you. I'll send you a full document on that. I'm not really sure about that. And that's all they care about.
Exactly. And, another thing, when I'm teaching a class or when I'm leading a certification, I might have someone in the class that looks like they're having a horrible time. Maybe they are. And they won't smile, they won't laugh, they won't interact, even though I'm looking at them. But something that I've always thought about is this: you never know what's going on with people. You never know. It might have been just everything they could do to even be there.
Yeah.
If it's a certification, they might be extremely nervous, scared. They may have a headache. Who knows? They've got family situations. It's just heavy stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
And when the person that comes into your group fitness class looks like that, everybody else is having a great time and they look like they're just having a horrible time, just remember that you have the opportunity to, in that moment, do something incredible for them, to help them move, to get rid of some of the anxiety for them, to make them feel better. Not many people get the opportunity to stand in front of people and do something that's really, really good for them. And so we never take it for granted. I always look at it like, hey, they're there and I'm giving them all the energy that I have. They're going to come back. They're going to feel better. And I've got to feel good about that. So that's something else that I think is important to look at, because sometimes you're going to think about the people in your class and it can get frustrating if they're not, responding, even though you're giving them everything you've got good energy. Just keep going, keep giving, and it will come back.
That's a great point. And I just want to add to that, Greg, and it's sort of the reverse of that too, where this is their time. This is not your time. So much like Greg said before, you coming in hungover, you coming in when you have what I call psychological baggage is not okay. You have to hide that, right? So this is their hour, their 2 hours, their 7 hours if you're presenting, which is all the more reason not to go drinking, because it's easier to do an hour group class hungover. It's not
maybe one afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. It's not easy to do a 7-hour presentation hungover, but this is their time. So you have to hide that stuff because you're there for them. They're not there for you. They're not there to ask you how you're doing. You're there to ask them how they're doing. So keep that baggage at home and turn that smile on and give it all you have.
Totally agree. It works every time.
So walk me through now what I would call like your customer experience. And you could do this, Greg, any which way. So it could be from your group fitness. You could say like, okay, this is what a kickboxing looks like, a certification or a personal trainer. They sign up online. Let's go through the in-person one. They sign up online. What's the next step?
Okay, so also they can call our office. We're available Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We love it when people call too. We want to talk to our customers. So some people register online. Some people actually mail in checks and a little note that says, this is what I'm registering for. So believe it or not, we still get a lot of checks. And then a lot of people do register online. So once you register, you're going to get an immediate email from our website that says, thank you for registering. And here's all the information, your receipt and the date and the time and everything. So they're going to get that nice little receipt, unless it goes to their junk or spam. Might I just say also that that's what's going on a lot these days. Every single person that's been widely reported in the news should be checking your junk and spam mail daily. Please, we're missing things if we don't do that. So anyway, that can happen. But whatever they registered for, they might sign up for the group fitness certification. If they don't order the textbook, and believe me, it's right there. All they have to do is click on it. Then all they're going to get sent is an emailed version of the study guide that goes along with that textbook. The reason we don't make them buy the textbook is because some people already have the textbook. It's $81 for the book. So that's kind of a lot. And other people are sharing them. So we're assuming you don't want it if you don't order it. And then we send a little personal email usually that says, hey, thanks again for registering. Let us know if you need something. If you did want to order the textbook, here's the link to click on it and do it. If you want to call us and talk to us about it, feel free to. Here's our number. So we're trying to do the really good customer service experience if possible. So they register, they study in advance, they show up. If it's a live one, like live, and this weekend I'm in near Charlotte, North Carolina, leading we're leading 5 or 6 classes of choreography and CEC value information, different types of classes. And then the next day is a certification. So those people that register for the in-person one, they're going to show up at the time. We're going to greet them, and then we're going to go through the course and give them the test. Now, here's another thing. I need to say this too, because with COVID, I had to kind of wrap my head around how are we making this fair for everybody?
Yeah.
For those who are showing up for the live ones, are they being penalized by having to test in person with the closed book? Whereas you can buy it online and test at home, open book, basically. It's just not fair. So a lot of times what we're doing now, this is just something I sort of come up with. I mean, this is the thing about being a company where there's 2 people that are running it. You can make your decisions and just go with it. You just try to think through every possibility and make sure you're right at this before you just kind of throw it in as, this is our new way of doing things.
Sure.
But recently, like when I was in Savannah, maybe a month ago, I just said, guys, look, I see you're nervous. They're always nervous. I mean, I don't blame them. They want to pass. They paid some money. They're looking forward to doing something with this. They feel under pressure. So I go through a lot of the test questions with them and help them with it. That is our goal right now, is to make it so that it's a good learning experience. If I can grab the test, if I'm standing in front of you, if you're worried and you have all your material, even though you've studied, and I'm holding the test in front of them and I'm going through it and I'm explaining every single question and why the answer is what it is, I find that to be a really good learning experience.
Yeah.
Because instead of just going, wow, that test question was confusing. I wonder if I got that one right or not, or what I missed. And so I'd rather go through it and explain every detail. And if I can't explain every detail, it should not be on that test. That's how I look at it. If any of our presenters cannot explain every single detail about it so that everyone gets it, it shouldn't be on there. Or maybe they shouldn't be a presenter. Sorry. Anyway, so that's the process. You order your materials and you get it, and then you show up for the live event. For the virtual training, it's much the same. We're on Zoom. I had to throw this together immediately when the pandemic hit, and we just started training our people like crazy, and it worked. But that's virtual. We're going to do this kind of talking, and I'm going to go through the material, and I email you the test, and you've got a couple of days to get it back to us. Again, I feel like people, I don't know if I said this before, but I feel like people need a break right now. I told you what I feel about the learning experience, and a test, a written test, not really being a true reflection of your knowledge, I guess, and ability is what I should say, the combination of that. Yeah. So that's virtual. If they're doing the online version, then they immediately get the material and they get a video that's downloadable of my cell phone video doing this kind of thing, explaining to them about cycle and showing them how to get on the cycle, how to set themselves up as a personal trainer, as a group fitness instructor, whatever it is that we're talking about, whatever the topic is. If it's me or someone else on video, they can fast forward, they can pause it, they can stop it, they can watch it up to 4 times. And when they fill out the study guide and get it back to us, we send them the test, and they have a few days to get it back to us. Along the way, we're going to need a copy of their CPR. If people don't have their CPR, they have 3 months to be able to get it to us from the date they took the test. They're not going to get their certificate until we get the CPR, but they'll get the notification that they passed. So in case they need to show, like the gym owner or manager, my phone is saying scam likely. Should I answer it or? No.
It's not talking about me, is it?
No, it's just, how those things are coming through crazy. But so that's pretty much the process. I think I answered that. I hope so. Yeah. Practically speaking, if it's an aqua certification, they get in the pool the last hour and we demonstrate it. If it's a cycle, then we get on the cycle and we do a class with them. The other day I did a virtual cycle class right here. My bike is parked over there in my fitness studio. But I did it right here, and they're all just like doing this while I'm going through a class and sweating and showing them. And I'm thinking, I have to be okay with this. I mean, they've certainly seen a bike. They've been on a bike. Otherwise, they wouldn't be getting cycle certified. And if they're just going to watch me, then they just watch me. If they had a bike and were participating, I would love that. But this day and age right now, with everything we have going on, I have to just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah.
Ooh, did I say too much or not enough?
No, that's great. And then you also sort of jumped into COVID, right? So all the things you guys had to do during the COVID, I mean, not that it's over yet, but obviously things are calming down a little bit. So I want you to just add to that a little bit. So you talked about now you're doing these trainings on Zoom somewhat, and you're offering it. Tell me about the customer's response, the people's response. Are they taking to this? Do they like it? Do you think you guys are going to stick with this even after the fact? And now this is just a shift in your business model.
I mean, those are great questions. And I'll tell you, much to my great surprise, everybody really likes it. There are some people that say, I just miss live. I miss live. And I'm like, well, so does everybody. Hello. Yeah. You know, of course we miss live. And I sympathize with you. And we want to get back to it too. But this past year, we've been doing dual where we can. Like I've got a big screen Zoom in there. And then some of the classes are Zoom and live. And we're trying to do that. But when there was only the possibility of Zoom, I thought, I don't know how this is going to go, because we do these big fitness weekends with on the hour for 5 hours and 5 different rooms, including aqua and cycle and all these modalities, these different things. Yeah. How is this going to work? Well, I mean, I have to tell you, the first one had like about 150 people attend. Then one of them had over 200 to 300.
And these are via Zoom? Sorry, these are Zoom? Okay.
Yeah. And with we had like 10 presenters doing all kinds of things at the same time, and everybody was running things. And I have like 6 computers, and I'm running around and, you know, trying to get everybody their Zoom links, and which was huge undertaking. But I was willing to do it because I thought, I don't know what else we're going to do. And I just couldn't sit and wait. We always had the online version, not always, sorry, about 3 years ago, we had that available. So that was always an option. But for those CEC things, classes where people are like moving together to be able to interact from their home after everything that is going on in the news that's so scary, made people so happy. I can't tell you the emails, how many emails I've received of people saying, thank you, and please don't stop. We have another one coming up in March the 25th to the 27th. And so far we've got maybe, I don't know, 15 to 20 people signed up. We'll probably have about 100 or so. It's a live event and Zoom event. But what I'm seeing right now, just to answer, maybe this will help you also understand, more people are signing up for the virtual than the live. Yeah. You know, because they're still a little scared.
That makes sense. But I do think that's the best way to learn, though, having just a camera inside of your live event, right? And saying, this is exactly what I'm teaching those people. There's no difference. You're hearing all their answers and responses. You're watching them demonstrate or me demo whatever movements I'm doing. I think that's obviously the best way. Now, you didn't have that opportunity because you probably couldn't go into gyms during a lot of the COVID, hence the reason you were doing it at home. But I do think now, like you said, that number is going to shoot up even more online, not less, because people are going to say, oh, now I get still like a full experience of what's going on in these certifications just by logging onto my computer. I can see exactly what's going on in the facility.
That's right. I mean, look, in the facility that are letting us do this, I'm very happy with. We have one local here that is amazing. It's got everything that we need. What you can't see is I have a big TV in front of me here, and it's on wheels. You know, it's got all the hookups and stuff. I throw that over my shoulder, put it in the truck, and drive it over there. And I'm wheeling it around from room to room. Whatever we have advertised is going to be virtual and live. You know, we just pick and choose as to what we think. And then if we have a number of different ones, and the presenter that's in that room will have their own little setup, whether it's their little laptop and a step setup, you know, whatever it is. But it's giving people the live experience and the Zoom experience. And then those that want to be there, that were spread out. And Lord, you know what I'm saying? I mean, some people are going to wear their masks. Some people aren't wanting to. I totally get it, understand it. Yeah. But, you know, we're just doing the best we can at this time. And I feel really good about it. I feel grateful that people are still with us, you know, and wanting to do this.
This next one is part question and then maybe part recommendation based upon your answer. But what I found very helpful for a lot of young trainers or people who just getting their certification is they'll join these forums that are like on Facebook, let's say, and they're underneath the guise of the certification, right? So let's just make up a certification, the Steve Washuta certification, and then
sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds great. So you'll be forced to join my Steve Washuta certification Facebook group, and all of those questions are surrounding basically help. So someone comes out of the IFTA certification and they're 3 weeks in, they're certified, and they go, "I'm teaching a swim class. I'm dealing with a lady who has an amputation from the knee down, so she only has one leg, one and a half legs, whatever. And I'm trying to make sure that she can do the things that all of my other people can do. Can you give me some help?" Right? And then somebody who's more tenured in that, like Greg, maybe even hops on and says, "This is what I would do. These are the exercises that I would do." And I feel like that camaraderie and that team building, that bonding underneath the guise of that certification really helps grow everything. Do you guys have something like that? And if not, would you do something like that?
I've noticed every time that I've been in a Zoom class that people will click in and give their opinion, or I'll say, "Hey, does anybody have anything they want to share?" I mean, and then I'll even say also in the beginning, "Look, if you need to click in and say something to respond to someone else's question, let's do it." I love that kind of open forum and format where people can do that. And I've seen a lot of that happening and people connecting, and that's perfect, especially if I don't know the answer to it. But even if I did, I would like for them to do that. I can see us doing more of that in the future. I can. I do love that idea. What we also do is Jeff and I will do a welcome to the weekend, Zoom right before all the other classes start, at least for like a half hour, where we're welcoming everybody, and it's free. They can come to it if they want to say hello to the owners and have any questions. And if, we run through the CECs real quick, and we kind of have like a little thing that will follow if no one's asking questions, just to give them info about IFTA. But yes, and then even in those little 30-minute welcome to the weekends, I'll see people connecting and asking questions, and this one answering that one. And just exactly what you said, someone with either more experience or the experience of having a client like that, being able to give information to someone that can help them is just extremely valuable. It's invaluable. Really.
Yeah, and it's great that you guys have that opportunity in the Zoom and the chats and things like that, because really I feel like that dynamic not only helps people learn, but it builds people's sort of camaraderie underneath the IFTA banner, right? They go, "Oh yeah, all of these other IFTA personal trainers or IFTA group fitness for kickboxing are helping me sort of build my business in the proper way." And I think it's a great thing for business building.
I appreciate you saying that. Because of you saying that, I think I will do some of those. I'll give you credit for it. You can be in them if you want, but I think we should do some of those, and it would be helpful. It's a little weird with the Zoom or whatever we're using sometimes, because you know how it is. If too many people's microphone is on, then it's popping all over the place. So those kind of problems are something that we all work through. We ask them to come to the meeting with their microphone off and to click in and say hello as we call on them, and then we open it up, because it's how I'm saying, it's just those little logistical things every once in a while, but we can work through that. I mean, it's worth trying for sure, even more.
So we talked a little bit about this. And if you have anything to add, please do. What do you think is changing in fitness? Like what is IFTA ready to do moving forward? What is Greg willing to do moving forward? We talked about the COVID, but is there anything else that you see coming on that you're either concerned with, whether it's a bad thing, or that you're happy with, that's potentially a good thing in the industry?
There's really nothing that I'm concerned about. I'm grateful to say that too. I do a lot of meditating, Steve, on a daily basis. It's not, when my meditation is not give me, it's, help me make the right decisions. I believe you're helping me make the right decisions. Lead me to do the right things as a company that will help us to help others. Yeah. So a lot of my meditation is that way. I'm always open to anything, even when people will contact and say, "Do you have this? Do you have that?" Or listen. I think that's important for everybody. As a personal trainer, a group fitness instructor, as a presenter, is to listen to what people are saying and take it from there. So I take a lot of cues as to what I think we should do next from what I'm hearing either in the industry or what people are saying when I'm in person with them or on Zoom with them. So we're open to a lot of different ideas. So I'm not as concerned about where we're going. I just don't know exactly if it's going to get back to the same thing that it was before. It's okay. I just want us to all keep going for sure, because it's that important. And there's so many people out there that need our help as instructors and personal trainers. So that is important. If it's going to be this shift to a lot of the online training and stuff, that's fine too. As a company, I mean, it's been a blessing. I hate to say this, so I want it to be taken the right way.
Yeah.
It's been hard, so hard at first. I was full of anxiety. I was running every day. I lost so much weight right in the summer, and I was just running around the downtown Raleigh and then jumping in the pool. Just that part was nice, but at the same time, I had a lot of anxiety about what are we going to do. And now I'm realizing that, you know, as a company, it helped us because we don't have the expenses that we had before. Think about what we had to do. We had to rent a space. We had to fly everybody there. We had to have hotel rooms. We had to entertain them a little bit too. If nothing else, it was just a Saturday night cocktail party or whatever, whatever you want to have kind of party with, appetizers, whatever. So we were trying so hard to get everything that we got to pay them to present.
Yeah.
So you've got to have some numbers to make that work, to keep things going. And, for 29 years now. So it's mainly been that. What we're realizing now is that this may be a better way to do it, not as many events necessarily, or do a lot of these kinds of things through Zoom, and then just kind of see where the industry leads us. I don't know if that's a great answer or not.
That is, you're a bit more positive than me. I'm usually glass half full, but I'll tell you sort of my issue, and then you could add to it if you have anything to add to it, is that I think doing this online stuff, virtually as training is amazing, right? Because it doesn't really make a difference when you're learning from someone like you, whether you're in the room or you're not. That is totally fine. Where it sort of irks me a little bit, Greg, is that in the personal training realm, we have a mutual friend, Carrie Smith. I learned a lot in the first few years, right? Just working in and around Carrie Smith, right?
Yes.
Or other professionals that have been tenured in the industry, right? So you don't even know, it's hard to explain, but you're subconsciously taking in all this information from watching all the other trainers, right? So I can walk into a gym and I see Greg is training someone and Carrie's training someone and Gay Gasper's training someone. There's all these people and I'm watching what they do. And maybe I'm even hearing what they say. And I'm taking in all of these things. And now that there's virtual training, my issue is that somebody learns and that they start training one-on-one, but they're not learning from any other experts. So all they know is their baseline knowledge. And now they're trying to work with clients without continuing to grow and get new certifications and learn from others and be mentored and shadow and do all of that stuff. So I don't know how that's fixed, but I think it could be a problem moving forward.
I do agree with you on that. I see your point 100% on that. One thing that I've always said, and this is what set IFTA apart in the beginning, is that there's nothing that can replace this face-to-face. And, I can see every bit of your body language. I can see where your hands are moving and exactly your entire position in the space, in the room with the piece of equipment and every angle, if I choose to. Nothing can replace that. And so there's that too, along with, we need to be able to get back to doing a lot of things live if we can. So if people are willing to do that, then I guess we're just going to live with this virus and learn to adapt. That's what I'm beginning to think now, that we're just going to be boosted if people choose to. That's another whole issue.
Yeah.
If people choose to have it, then, and if it's available for them, then they just may have to just do it every, 6 months. I'm not even sure when that's going to change or if it's going to matter, but, I'm with you on that. I think it is better if we can, be able to still learn as much as possible instead of just like maybe from one person. But yeah, as far as Carrie Smith is concerned, she's a great friend of mine.
Yeah,
I think she's so knowledgeable. I always am begging her to come work for IFTA still, and she does do some. She did a lot on Zoom for us this past year.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's fantastic. Yeah, and again, just to like sort of reiterate that point. It's nothing against virtual learning, right? So getting the certification is fine, but like Greg and I have talked about this whole time, that certification is just the first part of your journey. The second part is continually educating yourself and going on and moving. And one of the ways you do that is not just by getting more certifications, but it's by learning under other mentors and being physically put at a gym. You get your IFTA certification and you want to train online as a trainer, great. But also try to go to a gym, a local gym, even if it's just once a week, to train people, to see what's going on. And then you also see, like Greg has talked about, how his business adapts is he's listening. He's saying, okay, if people want some sort of kickboxing yoga fusion, I'll create it. I'll make it. I'll do whatever it is. And you get to see those fads that are appearing when you're in fitness facilities, not when you're just one-on-one virtually.
You're right. Exactly. Everything you said, totally agree with.
So Greg, tell the listeners where they can find everything IFTA. How do they get to the IFTA website exactly? And maybe if they have a question directly for you, that's something we talked about today, how they can maybe reach out to you. Absolutely.
I want to say that we're always available, no matter what time zone you're in, even if it's the weekend. If I'm at dinner, I might still just shoot you an email if you email me and say, hey, listen, I'm at dinner at Saturday night, but I will get back to you. I like for people to know that we are approachable, available to them at any point. And we have people that are certified in different time zones and different countries that I'm working with as well. So I understand and get that. How you can reach us is our website is, of course, www.IFTA, it's right here, IFTA like a dash, fitness.com. In fact, I think it's on the back of my shirt, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See that?
Yeah.
All right. So IFTA-fitness.com. And then me personally, if you just put my name in front of that website, GREG at IFTA-fitness.com, I will get back to you. And a lot of times these days, because of like I said, the things going to junk and spam, when I email someone, I take that extra step, and believe me, it's an all day long process to quickly text them if I have their cell. If they have sent me their information, and I'll say, I just emailed you, make sure it didn't go to junk. And you wouldn't believe how many people get back to me and say, thank you, I did find it there. So please reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. Of course, I want you to be IFTA certified. Hello. But I'm happy to help you with whatever I can. So and Steve, I just want to thank you so much for having me. What an honor. We tried to make this work for a while, and finally you're fantastic. Nobody knows this, but I had seen you before, and I had communicated a little bit here and there, but I saw you one day on the blog, and I was like, wow, he is so well spoken. Didn't put it together that I had met you before, or that we had some type of interaction years ago, a couple years ago or something. Yeah. But man, I'm crazy about what you're doing. So I thank you so much. What an honor.
Well, thank you. And thank you for all you've done in the industry and how you put together this fantastic certification. I will list all of the information below so that people can reach out to you directly. My guest today has been Greg Sims. Greg, thank you for joining the Trulyfit Podcast.
Thank you so much.